So I wanted to show you a short video clip of what's happening inside of a cell. We're actually doing a new program with the animators that I'm going to show you for people with cancer, to really show them what's happening inside their bodies when these cancer cells, which are really cells that have taken on their own ego and have forgotten about their connection to the totality, start to get too big for their own britches. And by bringing that awareness and that clear visualization of what's happening, we're quite confident that people can have a profound effect on their own healing and transformation. So the same company did this videotape earlier. Just notice the amazing intelligence that's flowing through the life of the cell as each of these individual components of the cell is expressing their dharma. So this is Dharma, and this is happening in every cell in your body right at this moment. Think of the intelligence. If that doesn't create a sense of awe for the magic of nature, then nothing can. And that same intelligence of nature is what's designing our lives. And so Dharma means that we allow our individuality to align with universality. Everybody here has a place inside of them that they refer to as I. It's quite amazing that 4,000 people in the room and everyone has a particular place, a point of reference that you say it's I. And of course with I comes the my and the me and the mine. And most of our lives we spend trying to reinforce that localized expression of the I, me, my, mine. Dharma means at a certain stage of life you realize that that expression of the I is a deeper underlying creative manifestation of a bigger I. The I that unites all of us and unites every sentient being on this planet and it's the eye of the intelligence of the universe. And if we can align ourselves in that state of Dharma, then everything we do is already destined for greatness and for success. You know, the key understanding from an Ayurvedic perspective is when you no longer think that you're doing what you're doing, but realize that it is being done through you, then nature carries you in the flow, and every intention that you have is an expression of a deeper underlying intention. And everybody in this room has their own personal dharma, which means there's something that you have that expresses your uniqueness of your being. Some talent, some tendency, some predisposition, something that gets you turned on. And if you can align your personal intention with the conversation of how I can be of service, then you become an irresistible force. So whether or not up until joining this community you were a teacher or a massage therapist or an engineer or a salesman or an advertising executive or a doctor or a nurse, if you can use that intention, that unique talent that you have, and introduce that deeper underlying connection, that conversation of how can I be of service, the universe will support that. See, as long as the ego is our only internal reference point, then we're always living in a certain state of fear. Because the nature of the ego is that we define ourselves by our ownership. The ego is that aspect of our being that's always trying to declare mine. You know, this is my body, these are my clothes, this is my house, these are my kids, this is my wife, this is my job, this is my bank account, this is my baseball team. But in the declaration of that ownership, there's always a subtle underlying level of anxiety, because even as the ego does its best to declare ownership, it always knows on some level it can all be lost. And so as long as ego is our primary internal reference point, there's a certain level of fear, because the ego has these deep needs for control, needs for power, need for approval. Or really saying it more accurately, the ego lives in fear of losing control, in losing approval, in losing power. And when there's always this underlying fear, it's as if we're perpetually preparing ourselves to be offended. And it's not a very enjoyable way to live life. But when we begin to expand our internal reference and realize that that sense of individuality is an expression of a deeper underlying realm of universality, when we realize that everything is the universe in disguise, that on some level we're all God in drag, then the ego no longer has that fear, and it's in the generation of your natural, spontaneous enthusiasm for life that when you offer a solution to people's problems, they will be enthusiastic in supporting you in that desire. So Dharma, finding a life that's filled with meaning and purpose. And then finally, the fourth intention, the fourth goal in life from an Ayurvedic perspective is moksha. Moksha means freedom. It means liberation. It means that even as we go through life with this sense of individuality, on a deeper level, we're always aware that we're expression of an underlying, deeper, more expanded field of intelligence, of awareness, of consciousness. Ayurveda is a consciousness-based science. In the ancient Buddhist text, the Dhammapada, it says, all that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we create the world. It's so important that I want you to say it to yourself. So say it to yourself. Say, all that I am arises with my thoughts. With my thoughts, I create my world.